UFC Fight Night Yan versus Figueiredo has just taken place, and this is my reaction to the card. I know I'm a bit late with my reactions here, however, yesterday was my first fight, so I had other things to focus on than making this video. But we are here today to talk about this card. This Fight Night card is one of the best ones we have seen in a very, very long time, in my opinion. The main event really delivered, and a lot of the other fights on the card also really delivered with a lot of finishes and really highlight real KOs on the card. So there were 13 fights in total. 6 of those fights came by way of finish. Let's start with the main event. We have got Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Now, this fight did live up to expectation. I mean, this was a very, very high-level mixed martial arts matchup, and Petr Yan is back. He is back. He won this fight very comfortably, in my opinion. He won every single round. Whenever I watched it yesterday at first watch, I haven't watched it again, so maybe I'm just being a bit biased, but Petr Yan really just showed that he is one of the most well-rounded fighters right now on the entire UFC's roster. So round one starts, and Figueiredo is able to take Yan down with a nice inside trip. It actually really was a good takedown from Figueiredo. Then they started getting into weird positions where Figueiredo was kind of taking his back, but then he kind of wasn't, and Yan was doing a good job defending. Then Yan ended up on top. I thought Yan done the better work in that round, so I did give round 1 to Petr Yan. Round 2, I believe, that's when Yan really started to kick into gear, and I'm kind of surprised by this because Yan normally is a slow starter in his matchups, but in this fight right here, he was on it from the jump. He landed that nice trip, sweep type thing, whatever you want to call it. I believe that was in the second round. What I want to talk about though is, I know we all go on about Yan's boxing, and he really did showcase that in there against Figueiredo yesterday, but Yan's got a really underrated kicking game, especially in the earlier rounds when he was stomping at the knee of Deiveson Figueiredo, which was constantly making Figueiredo change stances. And when he went into the southpaw stance, he wasn't having the same, he wasn't as effective with his striking as he is in his orthodox fights in his stance. I've obviously been hitting the head too many times. I can barely fucking speak, but we continue. Like I said, Yan did win this fight really, really comfortably, in my opinion. He clearly won every round, I thought. Now, Figueiredo did have success with the takedown in round 1, but at other parts in the fight, he did hurt Yan. People might disagree with that, but in my opinion, he did catch Yan. I think it might have been the 3rd or 4th round. He caught Yan and hurt him, but couldn't really follow up on it. Yan's defense was just... Yeah, Yan just showed how complete he was in there. Now, after the fight, Yan did make the call out to Merab. He says he wants to fight Merab in March. Look, I like Yan. I don't think he deserves to fight for the belt immediately. Now, I did say if Figueiredo beat Yan, then he should have been the one to fight for the title over Umar. But the difference is, Figgy was on a 3-fight win streak going into this matchup, and they were all against... Cody Garbrandt wasn't a top 10 bantamweight at the time, but he is a former bantamweight champion. Petr Yan is now on a 2-fight win streak, beating Song Yudong, great win, and Deiveson Figueiredo. But Merab beat him 5-0 last time. I feel like Yan will need to do something before he gets the title fight. If the UFC... Well, just for me anyway, I would love to see Yan versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I think that's a really fun matchup, and I think Yan would beat Umar Nurmagomedov. Do I believe that? Yeah, I do, because Umar Nurmagomedov isn't as aggressive with constantly shooting for takedowns as what Merab and all was in there. And Yan has got some of the best takedown defense in the UFC, in my opinion, and the way he's able to get up and keep himself safe on the ground. Even if you look at a fight like when he fought Aljo the second time, even though he got his back taken, Aljamain Sterling is extremely dangerous there, and Yan was able to keep himself safe for that entirety of that round. So Yan does have a really good defensive ground game, and on the feet as well. I mean, the guy's just a masterclass striker, let's be honest. One of the best boxers in the UFC. But I would love to see Yan versus Umar. I know we're not going to get it. We're probably going to get Umar versus Merab. I would love Yan versus Sean O'Malley for 5 rounds. That is a fight I would love to see. I don't think we're going to see that fight either, unfortunately. I kind of feel like how it's going to go... we might see that, because... Who's O'Malley going to face then? I think they might do O'Malley, Corey Sanhagen maybe, or O'Malley, Henry Cejudo. I think that might be the route that they go down, but I would love to see Yan versus Sean O'Malley for 5 rounds. And what's next for Figueiredo? A fight that makes no sense I'd love to see though. Figueiredo, Jose Aldo. What a fight that would be. Makes zero sense, but I'd love to see it. I'd also like to see Henry Cejudo versus Figueiredo, but I believe Figueiredo has done some training with Henry, so I don't know if that's going to happen. You can maybe do Song Yudong, Davidson Figueiredo, another really fun matchup. There's a lot of matchups that can be made in the bantamweight division. It is one of the most stacked in the UFC right now. Yao Jiannan got the win over Tabitha Ricci. She won every single round, just outstriking her. There's not really much to go over here. Muslim Salikov got one of the craziest kick KOs I've ever seen against Song Kanan. I mean, what age is Muslim Salikov and the guy's still moving like that? He done some good body work with his kicks to the leg and the body, but that head kick, like, yeah, he just caught Song Kanan clean, and yeah, that was it. I mean, he was gone for. Wang Kong, Aura gone. Yeah, she's 6-1 now. She obviously lost to Gabriela Fernandez. She was looking good in the matchup, but then got caught in the pocket and got submitted. I know a lot of people are saying, these losses happen, blah, 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 but the aura's dead. The aura's gone for Wang Kong. The UFC had a potential superstar on their hands for the women's flyweight division, and she got beat. So, yeah, women's divisions, you can never, ever have anything worthwhile in them. Anyone that's an exciting prospect, they lose. So, yeah, Wang Kong got beat. It's unfortunate. Let's move on to Volkan Oezdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. Now, for this matchup, I did go for Volkan Oezdemir to beat Carlos Ulberg. And do you know what? See, everyone who was saying that this fight wasn't really that close on Twitter and stuff like that, you're a liar. Volkan Oezdemir won the first round. The second round was close. Now, in fairness, I do think Carlos Ulberg should have got the win, especially in the later stages of the second round and third round. Volkan Oezdemir was done, and he was biting on all the feints off Carlos Ulberg. Plus, he was busted open. What I will say is, why does he keep trying to throw a spinning back fist? Why is Volkan Oezdemir doing that? But Carlos Ulberg got the win. He passed the gatekeeper check that is Volkan Oezdemir in the light heavyweight division. Now, in fairness, I'm going to be honest, there's nothing I've seen there out of Carlos Ulberg that makes me think he's going to beat a Pereira or Jamal Hill or Yuri Prohaska, but who knows? I mean, what's he on now? An 8-fight win streak in the UFC, so we'll see where he goes from here, to be honest. He got Khalil Rountree. I think you do Khalil Rountree, Carlos Ulberg next. I think that's a fun one, although they might want to do Khalil Rountree with someone higher up in the rankings because of the performance he had against Pereira, which is also fair enough, but they're similar in the rankings now. Carlos Ulberg, Khalil Rountree, they're both high-level strikers. I think it would be a fun one to watch. Unlucky for Volkan Oezdemir. Good win for Carlos Ulberg. Next up, Zhang Ming Yang with that elbow KO over Ozzy Diaz. That was a really good way to start off this card. Like I said, there were a lot of fun finishes on this card. This was a really, really good fight night. And this is what the UFC need to start to do. Have a good main event and have some other ranked fights on the card and take the fight nights to different places. I don't want to see fucking Tybura versus an unranked heavyweight in the Apex and the undercard is absolute dog shit. These are the fight nights we want. I mean, see if it means getting less fight night Apex cards and less UFC events in general. I feel like I'm at the point now where, say you have to take a 2-week break, but you're getting these type of fight night cards and better pay-per-views, then I'm all for it at this point, to be honest. Anything else I want to go over? Dong Hung Choi, I think I've said his name right, I don't want to butcher him there. That was a really, really impressive KO win that he got to win the flyweight road to UFC. Shai Ming with that head kick, scary. Kavanagh got a good win. I was expecting him to get a KO, but he got the win anyway. He was in there with a tough opponent. Overall, UFC Fight Night Yan versus Figueiredo was great. It delivered. I'm going to be reacting to my fight throughout the week, so make sure you stay tuned in for that so you can watch it. Let me know your opinions on it. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.